future knits.
Oh, so excited. I don't even care. I will.
Oh my god. Of course I just put coffee in my mouth. All right, hello. Welcome.
Hi everybody.
Welcome back. Episode something
6.
What?
Episode 6.
6. I thought you said episode 6. It's like
nope.
Episode 6 of the On the Lamb podcast. I'm Tamu.
I'm NalediS.
Welcome back.
We are real life sisters. From Ontario, Canada.
Just gonna say the same thing.
See, we're sharing the sign on today. That's kind of nice. As opposed to like, I'm gonna hit record. You're starting. Go. Like last week.
That wasn't exactly how it happened.
A little bit.
No, I was recording way before that.
Okay. Well,
you should
either way, you were like, hey, let's get started. You're starting.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but you're on the spot.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to try and stick to business today.
Yes.
It's not really my forte, I'm not going to lie. I say, we're going to stick to business. And I'm like,
and then you're like looking at it.
Honestly, we were sick for the entire month of November. Yeah. And it is like every day that I remain sick, my brain gets slower and slower. Like to the point that earlier this week, it's only Wednesday, but yesterday or the day before, I like couldn't even do like basic things. Like I couldn't pick up glasses without like hitting them and then trying to pick them up. Like it was like my motor control is all off. My brain is just not quick. And then when it is quick, it's like I'll have moments during the day where it catches up. And then I'm like, I have a million ideas. Blah. Like it's just like, I need to keep a notepad around for the brief moments where I actually am energetic. Because otherwise I'm like,
Put some lemon in your water.
I actually despise lemon water. Like I know
lemon tea.
Ugh, I think that's worse. Hot lemon water. No, I don't like people who like love lemon water and they're like, oh, I put a few slices in and I drink it all day long. It always sort of tastes like a cleaning product to me. Like it never tastes good.
Yeah,
so I don't.
It has to be really cold for me, which is not great in a day like today. But in the winter we'll do honey lemon tea if we're not feeling great, because like the lemon really is great for like helping you absorb the water more fully and like minerals too, you know. Anyways, this is us sticking to business. Right?
I'm pretty sure this is a podcast about lemon water.
We're back to the lemon again. It's very lemony.
So lemony.
Okay, what are you wearing?
I am wearing my April Fool shawl.
Love that.
Okay. So I have a bit of a headache too, which is also making me feel like I'm not thinking right. So it actually is a large, let's say diamond shape. So it's like longer this way. Than it is this way. So you knit it corner to corner, you knit from this way and increase, and then you switch to the striping and go to the end. Pattern is by Hey Lady Hey. She's on Instagram and Ravelry, and April Fool shawl. I really like it. And it's written as a fingering weight shawl, but between the amount of yarn that you kind of had to commit, I think it was only like, I want to say it was a 2 skein project. Like, so you need 1 full skein of whatever your color is going to be on the eyelet side and then half a skein on this side. And you could either knit it like to her numbers, to her measurements, or just by using the yarn.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
The half skein side, it looked like you were striped. It was striped.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, so if you went by yarn, you could knit this side and just get to half of this color and then start striping it with half this color and half your second color.
I thought you meant like that was like 1 skein over there, done, go to that side.
No. And you probably could do it like that if you wanted to, but no, this is 2 color striped.
It looks like that's what she did in the original pattern, right? Like it was like one side was gray, one side was pink.
one side on hers, one side is like a gray taupey color, and one side is like a very bright kind of pinky color striped with the tone.
It's striped.
If you see closer up pictures, you can see the striping. But yeah, this one from a distance, it just makes it like a more interesting variegation. So this color is silver birchen stick by Crooked Kitchen Yarn on her DK base. Excuse me. And the pinky purpley color, it's kind of hard to pick up. It's a tonal like pinks and light purple kind of lavendery color, is called Tickled Pink by Young Yarns. And again,
really pretty.
Both DK weight. I love it. It's so cozy. It wasn't a bad knit, so I could see knitting it in fingering weight, but I really like it in the DK. I just think it's like nice, big, and then do the tassels at the end.
I feel like, especially with the tassels, I liked hers too, but I like your DK weight because it does look like a shawl that should like keep you really warm in the winter time, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe how big it is, but you've made it to like not make it look like, it doesn't look like that much fabric, you know, under your chin.
Yeah, it is like for the size of it, the way I tie it, because I tie it like this is the shorter side folded over in the front. Probably if I did it the other way, I don't know exactly how I tie it, but it would definitely hang longer. Maybe I'd twist the tassels together or something. And mine didn't block out to like as big as what the pattern dictated. Like if I had done it in the fingering weight, and with that gauge, it would have been bigger. But yeah, I really like it in the DK weight. DK is just more my jam. I like a fingering weight shawl. I just don't like the process of knitting it because it's like it takes forever. Anyways, I really like this one. So I was gonna wear something else today, and then I started putting it on, and I was like, oh, right, I was gonna wear this instead. So this felt more appropriate today because it's cold here.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
-4, which probably isn't that cold compared to where other people live, but
sure, no. But we've had a lot of up and down. We've had some like really warm days. So days that we've gone out, my kids, like just this past week, we were outside and they should have been wearing sweaters, but they didn't want to. They were just wearing long sleeve t-shirts. And we didn't spend all that much time outside, but anyhow, yeah. So -4 does feel pretty darn cold today.
Yeah.
And it's like gray and kind of gloomy looking.
Yeah. And I realized when I took the kids to school today, I put my mittens on. I don't know if I was going to bring them over and I forgot. But I think the exact same colorway, but I think I did it with worsted weight. I had knit myself mittens.
Mittens?
I had knit myself mittens, is what I just said. F my life. I had knit myself mittens, and then I didn't even realize it until I put this on today and then put my mittens on. And I was like, oh, they match. Like, same colorway. I really love this colorway. Anyways, without rambling on about that colorway for too long.
No, it's gorgeous. I actually realized, oh yeah, maybe you're going to talk about it again today. The shawl that you're doing with the TANIS fiber yarn.
Yeah.
It's so funny because we both watched the video for editing purposes after we tape it, and I was like, oh, that's gorgeous, that shawl. Like it just didn't show that, like, your colors don't show that great when I'm watching them on my computer right now, like just the way the video quality is, but then when I watch it,
yeah,
everyone else gets to see, thank goodness. It was so warm, so I'm like, I can't wait to see this shawl now.
Yeah, wait till you see it in person, then you'll really, if you see it in person and in daylight, you're gonna be like drooling over it because it is really pretty. And the bigger it gets, the more I'm like, I want it to be done.
Oh, I thought you meant that one, but you mean
no, the other one. Yeah, this one I just there's something about like a neutral with a speckle, but like non-boring neutral, because it's like when you look at this colorway, it's like it's not beige and it's not gray, it's both. And then the black flecks, and some of them just kind of like bleed out to be like just different tones of gray, and some of them really black. It's just like the perfect non-boring neutral. I feel like I need a sweater in it, just like a kind of what you're wearing, like just a long sleeve pullover in that exact colorway, because I feel like it's the perfect neutral to go with everything, but not boring to look at. Anyways, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing what I was trying to wear last week, the BOHO CHIC. Oh, I just looked it up. Winter surf sweater. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what yarn it is. This is something that Tamu made. And thank goodness you made the arm seams too tight because you had to give it to me instead. It does feel a little bit tight here. It feels like I'm wearing an elastic band, but
yeah,
otherwise it's very comfy and I love it.
I'm just double checking it because I happen to have my Ravelry open.
Stand up. See if I can show a little bit off.
It is Knit Picks Mighty Stitch, which is a worsted weight, 80 acrylic, 20 wool. The main color is navy. The accent color is mint. And I only did it with the accent color. That's not specifically something the pattern calls for, but I only did it with that because I happened to have some navy and one ball of mint in my stash when I decided to do this project. So I was like, I could either wait for enough of one color to arrive in the mail to start, or I could just get started and add the contrast, like cuffs and, what do you call the cuff at the bottom? Hem? I don't know, whatever, you know, add like contrast ribs. So I really like it with the contrast rib. I think it's really cute.
Yeah, it's super
I like the minty pop on there. Can you move your arm closer to the, or the body or something closer to? Because it has like a really, that's one thing I loved about this pattern. When I first started knitting it, I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, this is going to take me forever, because it is like this textury pattern throughout. Like the entire thing, there's no stockinette, if I recall. It's that the whole pattern, or the whole sweater. So yeah, I was a bit worried, but I think it actually like knit fairly quickly, like worsted weight, even though there's a pattern, it knit fairly quickly. I think it's like one that I would knit again now that I feel like I am better at seaming, because I don't think my seaming work was as good as it could be. But it's dark, so when you wear it, I don't think it's obvious that.
No, I don't think so either.
Friction issues.
Yeah. I feel like I would, now you said that I'm not super knowledgeable about the different weights of yarn. DK and worsted are quite similar.
They can be, yeah.
I feel like I would like this in a DK. Like I like the warmth of it, but like, or maybe it's the yarn, I don't know, but like slightly more soft and like,
it's probably the yarn. As I said, it's 80% acrylic, so
right.
Probably in 100% wool, or maybe like the opposite proportions, like 80% wool, 20% plastic. It would feel really different.
Right.
But again, in the interest of the fact that I wasn't a very experienced sweater knitter, I wasn't gonna, you know, Knit Picks Mighty Stitch is a very affordable yarn. I can't recall how many balls I used. I want to say maybe 4 of the navy and 1 of the mint, and I didn't even use all of 4. Like I think I used like 3.5. Say my numbers are definitely on my Ravelry page, because I always put in like to the exact total for people who want to know that. Yeah,
I love this
nice
sweater.
one.
So cute. I just realized I forgot to bring out my package that arrived. At some point, I'm gonna have to run downstairs and go grab it.
Okay. Yeah, so that's that. Well, I'm also wearing my, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but LIERRE socks, I think.
Nice.
By SOLENE Knits.
Oh, yeah, I like those. That's actually green, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also Crooked Kitchen yarn. I could take it off, I guess. It's also Crooked Kitchen yarn. It's, the colorway is called Stationary Stone, but it was her one-of-a-kind version, so it was when she was still playing around with getting the color that she wanted. Sorry, my camera's not picking it up very nicely, but it is like a mossy green and gray together, and then there's little speckles and flecks of like darker teal you can kind of see there, and the odd like kind of like a very dark orange, the odd little bit of yellow. Just really interesting, very tonal, but a subtle tonal, like so perfect for this pattern that has like this lovely traveling cable and the reverse stockinette. This was one of those knits that, I mean, it is a short sock, but at the time that I test knit this, I hadn't been knitting socks, and this chart of doing this section, it just flew off the needles because it was so not boring. It's, you know, it's relatively easy. You're only doing really one cable sort of traveling down, but each line is just like interesting and something I'd never really done before. I definitely want to make it again, and I want to make it taller because I really prefer a tall sock, or at least, you know, like say double, but I would get this cable and like start it going up, say straight, or kind of going across more and then bring it down. so I could make it like a taller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love
that. Yeah.
And I can't remember what the base is for this yarn. It was something I'd never used before. I want to say it's, instead of a merino wool, it's Polworth and nylon, I think. It should be on my Ravelry project page, my Pavelry page, I think I almost said. It should be on my project page what the actual yarn base was, but I really like it because it feels rustic in the hand. Now that it's washed, it's really soft, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm also wearing a fun sock.
Okay.
I think I need to get my gleaner though.
Yeah, I know those.
Yeah, you made these. These inspired me. I was like, I need to knit socks. And I get so many compliments because I wear them over top of like, you know, in like the summertime, be like camping and wear leggings, and then, you know, it gets warm or colder at nighttime. So get like the socks out and put them over top of your leggings. And everyone's like, oh, I want those socks. This inspired me to like, that's why I started knitting all the socks.
Yeah. I can't remember what the pattern is called, Bob or something like that. I think it's by Coop Knits, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's Coop Knits or Co-op Knits, but I think it's Coop Knits. And the yarns were pretty well all Vicky Brown, who's a UK dyer. The rainbowy part in the middle is Stormy Rainbow. And then I can't remember, just minis of purple and I think like black. A charcoaly, blacky gray kind of color.
Mm-hmm. It amazes me that you remember all of those yarns. And like watching the Grocery Girls and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, that's that color. I'm like, that's amazing.
I don't know, like if I just saw something like in my stash, sometimes looking at it, I'm like, what's that? Like, you know, it's like I recognize it in that I know I purchased it, but I don't like off the top of my head, I can't always just look at something and be like, that's so-and-so's da-da-da-da colorway. But it's like after you spend time with it, you know, like you spend X amount of hours knitting with something, then it's kind of like burned into my memory. I'm sure if I went,
it helps that you bought it and you know, chose it for the colorway and stuff like that. Because I'm thinking like, no, I've been knitting a lot and I don't remember most of the yarns that I'm working on.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. All right, stuff you want to show? What you knitting on?
I have no FOs.
I don't think,
but I have lovely rips. If I could get this bag open. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? Doesn't want to let me in. Okay, so, well, this is one yarn that I just got. Last week I was like, oh, it's going to take so long for the TANIS yarn to arrive, and then a couple days later it arrives. No problem. It took less than a week, I think.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think when they say like however many weeks for shipping, it's just like on the off chance that they don't have enough of what you ordered already dyed and on the shelf. Like if you order 3 and they only have 2 or something like that, they just give themselves that extra time. But if they have it in stock, then, you know, and life happens too. They have little kids and that, but.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll have to go get the rest of the package. But this one, so this is TANIS Fiber Arts yarn in olive. My husband wanted a hat, and so he went on and picked the color for himself. And oh my gosh, I mean, I can see why they call it olive. You can definitely see like, you know, the black olive in there and green olive. But for me, I'm knitting a Christmas tree. Like that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. On like reading it, watching it here, it almost reads a little camo-y, like greens and then like kind of browns. But
I mean, I guess you could also look at it like that too, and that would work because Jason's interested in hunting and he's learning about that right now. But if you see it in person, there's just some like really brighter greens, like little brighter spots of green.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh, it feels so good. So it's worsted weight. This is the PUREWASH. I don't know what else to say about the yarn, except that it's lovely. Anyway, so, and he, this will be my first actually knitted hat. So he got to pick the pattern that he wanted as well for it. He said he wanted it to be like a cuff that you can roll up. And then we looked at some pictures together and he was like, I just want the hat to be just straight knit stitch. I don't want anything. I was like, you gotta have cables or something, but it's like, no, I don't want it. I'm plain guy. I just want a plain hat. Anyways, the nice thing is, like, for being the first hat that I work on, like, it's super easy. And
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, what I was going to say too.
Oh, actually, what's fun though about this was doing the long tail tubular cast on.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I really
hate
liked it.
doing it.
Was not fun.
I always find it so fiddly and like it's like twisting all over the place, and I'm like, what is going on? But then when I see it knit, I'm like, everything should have tubular bind off.
Yeah.
On. Like it looks. Yeah. Bind off is not as bad, but yeah.
The tubular bind off is not as bad. Yeah, it just doesn't look right when you're doing it. I was like, ooh, it looks like, you know, when you like yarn over by accident and, you know, if you're doing like a knit purl back and forth and you try to do a purl stitch without like bringing the yarn forward, that's what it keeps looking like. And I was like, oh, can't be right. But I thought, follow the recipe right the first time. And then, and it turned out.
Trust the process. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did it on the wrong size needles to begin with. So I got to pull it all. Oh no. So I started it on the wrong size needle because it's supposed to be, you use the larger, you use like a 4.5 or something like that for the cast on, and then you switch to a smaller size to do the cuff, and then you go back to the larger size for stockinette. Anyway, so I used the smaller size for the cast on. I got to like 87 stitches, and I think it needed to be like 102. And I was like, oh, I don't have enough yarn. I got to rip this back and start again, you know, like for the having enough to cast on. And then finished that, got a few rounds in, did like the 2 foundation rows. Then I read it again. Oh, now you switch to the smaller needles. I thought, oh, darn it. So I got to do it again. So I really got to practice it. Yeah. The only good thing about that, I always think, like, it's not a bad thing because the more you do it, the better it starts looking. So it looks much better than when I did it the first time around. So anyway.
What's the pattern?
Oh, yeah, I should have been prepared with that.
That's good.
On the Purl Soho website. Okay. It's just.
Is it that one that has like the colorful pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm just classic cuffed hat. I knew it wasn't anything special that it was called. Yeah. I don't know if this will show up well, but this is. Oops. Oh. Probably not, eh?
You can kind of see it. If you raise it up, you can see the picture at least. Yeah.
So that's what
mine is great. They have a lot of really great free patterns and tutorials to support them.
Yeah, and they have they actually made the tutorial that goes with the long tail tubular cast on. So oh yeah, and what's interesting was, so I followed theirs, but I also went to Very Pink Knits just because I was like, I'm gonna trust this pattern. I'm not gonna do anything different, but I was like, I need to watch someone else's because I'm like, I feel like I'm not following something correctly. Like it looked, what I was doing, even though I was following the Purl Soho and like exactly what she's doing with her hands, is like, yours looks more tidier on the needle. So I went to the Very Pink Knits. I wish I could remember her name. I cannot. Can you
I feel like is it Stacy?
No, I don't know. That doesn't sound right. We'll look later. Anyhow, she was doing it entirely differently. She had like she was using a waste yarn to start. I ended up just shutting it off halfway through because I'm like, no, this is just confusing me more. She used it, like her initial was on a waste yarn. You start, and then you, I think you like cast on like 7 stitches, then bring in your actual yarn, and then you do like a knit and then a yarn over, knit, yarn over. And I was like, after that, I was like, nope, I'm just turning it off because that's totally different. I don't even want to see how you do that.
Yeah.
Another time perhaps. So yeah. There are with the same name, there's more than one way to do the same thing. So anyhow, yeah, I'm sure you would get the exact same effect in the end, but just very different process. So
yeah,
I recommend for this anyhow, the Purl Soho.
Yeah.
It's a very good video. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you said it's just like a really basic hat pattern and he didn't want any like cables or any fancy stuff in it, I was like, that's probably good for your first hat pattern because then you really just get to focus and see what hat construction looks like. Because once you like, you know, same as socks, like once you understand the basic components of a hat, it's same with like crocheted hats too, right? Which you have done before. You can then you can tweak stuff, then you could add your own pattern in to like a basic hat pattern. You know, like then you can kind of you know, maybe make one to measurements instead of following a pattern. Like you can do a lot of tweaks and hacks and whatever with it.
Well, the good thing was too, I didn't have to think about it at all, but I had to actually size up the hat. Like their largest size would be for like 18 inches, inches.
Probably inches.
Hat circumference, pardon?
So probably inches.
Inches, yeah, I guess 18 centimeters would be very small. They're
I think that's like less than 4 inches.
18 inches. Jason's head is about like 23 or 24, so
yeah.
I had to use a lot more stitches. So I actually used a different website. I had looked at theirs, but we won't get into all that anyhow.
Cool.
To get the right number of stitches.
I
have another whip, but you go ahead and show us one of yours.
All right. Well, I'm also knitting hat.
Cool.
Again.
It looks like the exact same yarn as the other. You didn't frog that other one out that you made that fits Reese and Steve?
No. It's similar gray, but this one has, actually this is a Mineville Wool Project yarn as well. This one has, it's not as easy to see in the ribbing. If it was stuck in it, you'd see it, but there are like very dark, like a sprucey green, like a green, dark blue-green speckles and black speckles in there. I don't think it's very easy. It's not
kind of really dark right now.
And then most of the background's kind of still tonal, but I think it's just from those speckles bleeding. The pattern that I'm working on, I can't remember what it's called. I want to say it's called Doppelganger. Yeah, Doppelganger hat it's a test knit for SOLENE Knits again, same one as my socks, same designer, sorry, as my socks. She's a French designer.
The lady with the red packages with white polka dots?
No. She's a yarn dyer. That's Kate Celine.
That's Kate Celine. Okay.
Girl's name is Solene.
Okay.
First name. Anyways, yeah, it's a test knit, but I was telling you earlier in the week, and I almost wish like last time we podcasted, I should have shown the brim or tried it on the podcast because.
Oh, okay.
So she has it in 3 sizes, and I think I read the measurements, but kind of like didn't fully register them. So I think the largest size is meant to be like 23 inches unstretched. And I don't really measure my head ever because the size of my head almost changes like depending on how my hair is styled. So I was like, I just want the hat to fit my head. I'll just assume that the largest size will probably be the right size or even probably a little bit snug, but whatever, stretch it out. Cast on all the stitches, knit all the rib, which is like, I don't know, it's like 128 stitches or something, and 24 rows of 1 by 1 rib, which is just not my favorite to knit. Probably this cord is like not quite long enough to do magic loop, but also too short to just like keep knitting.
I've got all your long cords.
Pardon?
I've got all your long cords.
I have other long ones,
okay.
But I have a lot of stuff that's like a lot of projects that are just like on needles, but I'm not really doing anything with them. So I probably could switch cords around, but sometimes I'm just like, whatever. Because it'll be fine once I get to the rest of the pattern. It's just like the rib it was slow to knit. And I was like, the longer I was just hating it. So I got to the end of the rib, knit about 2 or 3 rows of the charts, which she has like 4 charts altogether. So you pick one of the main charts and one of the like extra charts, and you can decide. So you can kind of, it's a little choose your own adventure. She also has like 2 brim lengths, whether you want like a short brim or a foldable brim. So you can really like customize the hat to whatever you want. So yeah, get 2 passes or 3 passes maybe of the charts done. And then I'm like, maybe I should put this on my head. And I put it on, and it basically it was like putting a pot on my head. Like it looks so big. And I was just like, it's like, woo, like there's no tension there whatsoever. I was like, I'm so mad right now. That's not fixable. Like it's not like, oh, it's a sweater, it's a little bit too loose, but it's like, I can rip it back to here and take it in a little bit more. No, you have to rip that all the way back and start from scratch. I was like, so thankfully the test knit goes to the end of the month, so I have lots of time. I know it won't take me very long once I actually get into the body of the hat, but I was still like so mad. So I had to like put it totally down and then come back to it when I felt like I felt like I had the mental space to redo it all. So I'm back to knitting the brim. So actually I haven't even tried it on, but
it looks good.
No, I think this will be fine. It's like 1 by 1 rib's pretty stretchy. Yeah, no problem.
That looks.
Wear it like this. feel like it's like half Rambo, half like workout video. Let's get physical.
Knitting needles coming out, yeah. Well placed.
Yeah. And it's a weapon. I could like headbutt people. Anyways, so that's what I'm working on. Yeah, that's hat whips. And then
yeah, that was both of us had hat whips. Aww.
All right. Other foot whips?
Buddy.
Not buddy yet. I have something else first.
Then no.
Okay, show this, and I just figure we'll show buddy at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, so other foot whips. Steve, when my kids were sick, when my youngest was sick a couple weeks ago now, maybe like a week or two ago, he unfortunately destroyed Steve's slippers. They probably, I was like, they could have been machine washable. So my husband is like, you know, I will wear my hand knit socks around the house. He wears like old man grandpa slippers that are just like slide on, super cheap from the grocery store, you know, just like clog style, I guess, like plastic sole and then like a little thing across the top. And he always says it's because he doesn't like the feeling of crumbs under his feet and like, well then vacuum. But whatever, you know, we have kids who like, you know, if you vacuum, then they're right behind you with Cheerios stomping on them just to watch them explode. So whatever, he wears his slippers. So unfortunately they got small child sick bombed. And I stuck them in the bathtub initially while we were cleaning up other stuff. And I was like, I'll just throw them in the wash for you. He's like, just throw them in the garbage. Because they were kind of chewed up on the bottom anyway. So I was like, okay, whatever you want.
It would be knowing it, and like that smell probably wouldn't come out very well.
And they were like very close to, he would have needed to get new ones anyway. So it wasn't like a sad day or anything. And again, they're like $10 from the grocery store. He doesn't care. So he was like, oh, I'll just go tomorrow and buy myself some new ones. And I was like, can you let me knit you some slippers, please? In the past, I have knit him socks and slippers, and mostly just because he has very bizarre feet from some accidents that happened a long time ago where his foot got broken and never reset properly. So he gets like very hard pressure in his heel and the ball of his foot, like, but because his foot's kind of like, yeah, it's really weird. So other hand knit socks and slippers I've made him, he wears, but then he wears through those spots like so fast. It's actually kind of creepy. Anyways, so I was like, let me knit you slippers. Like, I don't even care if you wear through them. Just like, I want you to wear them. Because otherwise, like mittens and hats, like he will wear, but it gets too hot and then he takes them off. Anyways, so he let me knit him slippers. So this is the first one. And I stopped after the first one because I wanted him to try it on. And the night that I finished it, he fell asleep at like 8:30. So, all right, well, you could try it on tomorrow.
They don't look very long for him.
They're pretty long. I tried them on myself. His feet aren't that big.
No, they're not that long, but...
Yeah, his feet aren't that big, but I did try it on and they are too long for me. So they're definitely long enough for him. He tried them on last night and they were fine for him. So yeah, the pattern is New Biscotti Slippers by Biscotti Yarns. They are in Quebec somewhere. And I've used this pattern before when I won that Chelsea Oran weight yarn from Koigu. So, and I was like, I only had one skein and it's a little bit lower yardage than other yarns I've used. So I was like, what can I do where I can use the whole skein? Oh, I have to use all of it. So I had knit myself slippers, the same style. And I really like them. They're quite comfy. I love although it's kind of a pain to knit because you're knitting.
Not slippery when you're walking in the house?
Not any worse than like wearing my hand knit socks.
I'm just thinking for Steve, because he's used to wearing them.
He tried them. He tried it on. He was wearing one sock on one foot and then this on the other foot and was like shuffling around in the basement. He's like, yeah, they're good.
Okay.
Is that the official test for slippers?
I slipped down the stairs like really bad like a couple weeks ago and like bruised my elbow and stuff. I think it was the morning that we filmed too, but I forgot to mention it. Yeah. Like really bad. I was just like, thank God I wasn't like holding a child because usually half the time I am coming down the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with wearing hand knit socks and hand knit slippers in the house is either you got to like put something on the bottom that's grippy. So you can get like sock stop. You can use puff paint. There's lots of different strategies. I think some people use like just hot glue and like a swirl or some dots or whatever. You can get leather soles, which are a little nicer because they will cut down the wear as well. Whereas like, I think sometimes the sock stop as you walk around, it'll move and then it'll pull off. You know what I mean? Like it'll I don't know how else to describe it. Kind of like how when you hot glue Velcro or felt, it only lasts so long and then it pulls the top layer kind of off. So you can use the leather soles. They can be a bit pricier, but you can also make them yourself if you can find leather for cheap. I found offcut pieces of leather at Len's Mill, and you can just cut it to then your custom size. But anyways, I love these. I love this pattern. It's a really quick knit. The yarn that I'm using is from Caitlin French. She's in BC, and she does a lot of natural dyeing. So the blue is dyed with indigo, the green is dyed with indigo and weld. And I bought it like quite a while ago now and just had it in my stash, just waiting for something to kind of knit with it. So I'm almost done. The second one, I quite like them. I have tons of yarn left, so I almost kind of like might knit ones for myself in just the indigo. Only thing I don't love about knitting indigo is my hands end up blue. They're not, but my hands end up kind of blue. But same thing happened with that sock blanket that I had that had the moons on it. That was dyed with indigo. Yeah. Like knitting the shawl, my hands were blue. But once I blocked it, I actually like, just to see what would happen, kind of like intentionally rubbed the shawl on my hand because I didn't want to like say wear it over a light color and then have like this blue triangle on my white shirt, you know? And once I blocked it, the extra dye came out, no problem. So yeah, I'm excited that he's actually letting me knit him something that I think he will wear.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, do you have any other whips besides your buddy socks?
Well, I don't even want to show it. I think I'm done with the stockings.
Oh, that's cute.
It's kind of cute, but I don't know.
It'll go the other way, right? Like the ruffles at the top?
Bottom, by the heel.
Oh, okay. Are these ones Ada's?
This is Ada's. She's very happy with it.
Yeah. No, I'm just
saying she's happy with it. I am just like, and I think I put too much pressure, and I think I had the expectation in my head of what it was all going to look like, you know? Like very, like just pristine and perfect, and like, I don't know what I was thinking in my head anyway, and I just feel like it's not. Just doesn't feel good in my hands. Yeah. And although I am proud of myself because I didn't follow a pattern to do the skirt, I just like kept starting it and ripping it out and starting it and ripping it out and just trying things with it. Yeah. And I like the, you know, I wanted it to be like ruffly and whatever looking, so I'm happy about that. But I don't know, I'm just like, I'm in a stalled place with this. Yeah. I also, after getting, you know, I mean, like we're working on using scrumptious pearl yarn for buddy socks and then now TANIS fiber for Jason's hat. I'm like, I don't want to work on this. Yeah. So
he's about like
for Christmas next year. Pardon?
Yeah. It's kind of the hard thing sometimes about like those utility knits. Like you want it to last long. It doesn't need to be $1 million stocking, but yeah, maybe it's not the most fun yarn to knit with.
No. And I just feel like, I don't know, I would want this to be like in 40 years, like, you know, if Ada chooses to keep her stocking, or if any of the kids, like you look at it and you're like, wow, like your mom made that. Like I could just picture our kids be like, your mom made that, you know, as opposed to
be because it's acrylic, it's not going to pill, it's not gonna
I know for that, but maybe, and you said maybe just sizing it up, and when you said like size it up to another hook, I was like, I'm not pulling these two stockings out, and like, you know, and trying to like whip through them really quickly and that's another thing too. I think if they were working up much faster than what they are, it's because like I just keep like, you know, with the heel, I ripped it out so many times to get the right shape. With the skirt, I ripped it out so many times. So I mean, and that's fine because I want it to look the way that I want it to look. But I just thought that if they would have gone much faster. That it would be like a lot less thinking just to do it, because we're in like this huge holiday movie kick right now, so it works really well to do stuff like this. But yeah, there's too much thinking involved. Anyhow, that's my only other whip.
Okay, I want to show my Shawly thing, cowl, whatever, and then we can do our socks together. So I did work a little bit more on it. I think the last time we talked, I was like, I haven't really done much on it, but then I was like, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah, it's doing the same thing again that it did last week. It's like, it's so funny because last week you're like, look at this yarn. And I was like, I don't see what you're seeing, but yeah, it's like the view you get watching the recording on YouTube is like, it like glowed this like warm purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just in different lights. I feel like different colors really pop out. So like right now I'm getting a bit more natural light than before. And like what really is sticking out to me is like, there's more teal on this part. And then there's more of this, like from the Mona Lisa, I think like this light lavendery pinky purple, like that is just glowing. Like it's really picking up the natural light really nicely. And it's like, that's all I can see in this section. So again, it's like, there's just so many colors going on without being loud and screamy that I just can't imagine what color would I possibly stripe in.
Yeah.
So this is the Divergent series cowl, or kind of like a shawl. So it's like, you can wear it sort of like a shawl, but it is a cowl type construction in that it will be one continuous piece, by Sweater Freak Knits, who I'm apparently now obsessed with. When I'm done talking about this, I'll talk about a future knit. But yeah, I just like all things Sweater Freak Knits. Her patterns are just everything I want and more. Anyways, and the yarns are Tanis Fiber Arts in the Mona Lisa colorway, which is one of her speckles. They don't have it in their regular stock. It just comes out in updates here and there. And I still think in the ball, there's like nothing about the ball that excites me at all. As soon as I start to see it knit up, I'm like, I love this yarn.
I'm glad you said that too, because like, when I've seen like your Instagram picture and then like talking to here, I'm like, it's just
sorry, Tanis, but the ball is not cute. Like, it's kind of gray, it's a little yellow, and then you can see the purples, and I'm just like, it looks like, meh. Like, it's just not exciting.
Because once you start knitting it,
it's like everything. Like, it is just all the things I want it to be. It's a little neutral, but it's so purpley. I'm a purple girl, and yeah, it's everything I want and more. And then the Epiphany, to me, the Epiphany is very exciting in the ball. Like, it is the purples and the browns and then pops of red and teals, and like every time I look at it, a different color is what stands out. It's like, you know, like this is one of those knits that it's like the mood ring of knitting, that it's so speckly and has so many colors, but it's also sort of calming and neutral, that I feel like no matter what I wear it with, you know, it could like set the mood for the day. Like I could pick up the more colorful parts of it. I could, you know, make it more subtle. I could dress it up, dress it down. This will definitely be a knit that I wear a lot. So that is the only thing that's really keeping me going. Because again, I have said before, I do not like long purl rows. They just keep getting longer. But I will say my purling is getting quicker because of knits like this. And it's funny, I was commenting on Valerie Knits. No, what's her?
Valerie is Knitting.
Valerie is Knitting, who is also Joyanne's Fiber Arts. I am in love with her soft blanks. She posted a video on her stories of her purling, and I was like, ooh, her purls are so fast. And so we were chatting a little bit back and forth about it, and my purling is definitely picking up, but it's because of these long kind of purl rows where there's just nothing else to it. It's just a long purl row. I'm experimenting with different methods of purling to kind of play around with it. It also helps me cut down on hand fatigue. So normally I'm a continental knitter for my knitting, but then I will do English style sometimes for my purling. So I hold the yarn in my right hand instead of my left. And then Kristen from Vine is her yarn company, but Yarngasm is her podcast. She did a tutorial on Norwegian purling. So you hold the yarn in your left hand like continental, but you keep the yarn in the front and kind of pick it, I don't know, you use the right needle more rather than bringing your finger down to move the yarn. You use the needle to grab the yarn. It took me a bit to get the motion of it, but now that I've got the motion, I actually can do it kind of quick. Like I find I have to keep retensioning the yarn, but it's almost like when I learned continental, you know, you just have to teach your hands a new way to move. And then I also pulled out my Portuguese knitting pin, because Portuguese knitting, you use your thumb to move the yarn down instead of like your English or your index finger like you would in continental. So it also can make the purling a bit faster. So, you know, ways that I will make things I don't enjoy doing more enjoyable is like playing around with different techniques, as long as it doesn't mess up your tension really bad, like I'll kind of, you know, evaluate each row and go like, yeah, that's like a blockable amount of difference. Then it's fun to experiment. It's like, you kind of, you know, it's a nice chance to do that. So
that is what's so cool about knitting is like what you can do with your hands, 2 sticks and some yarn. Oh my gosh, so many things.
And I love that for teaching, when someone's like, am I doing this right? And I'm like, there really isn't a right. Like, there's what you want it to look like and what you don't want it to look like. And then 100 different ways to get to that place. As long as your final product is what you wanted it to be, hold the yarn however it makes sense for your hands, hold the sticks however what makes sense for your hands. There are lots of ways I've seen people knit. The most interesting one, we were talking about this the last time I taught a class, is someone who, I think they call it parking. Like it only really works with straight needles. So you have your 2 straight needles, and your left needle, you park it either like under your arm or like in between your legs. So then you can use your left hand and your right hand differently. It's like, I don't understand it. My brain can't wrap my head around like how that works for that person, but I've watched someone do it for a long enough period of time to see them create something that I'm like, looks like what I would have knit. It's just a different way to get there. And so it's like, it makes it so that, you know, obviously there's certain things that are trickier for them to do, but it's the same as like continental. There's certain stitches, it's like knit 2 together. If I have to do a lot of knit 2 together across a row, I'll switch back to English style because I just find it a little trickier with continental. It's like, you know, you just find your tricks and what works for you.
I don't know if you remember, but can you picture how Mom used to knit? For some reason, I always remember like the knitting needle like resting here, and somehow she would like do that. Do you remember that?
Mom knit English style, but her English style was like, what do people call it? Flicking instead of throwing. So a lot of English style knitters,
I remember that. It was
like where you hold the yarn and you wrap it around, like it's a big action. And then the what did I say? Picking?
Flicking
is like where you have the yarn kind of like, I always remember it looked like it was like coming across the top of her finger somehow.
Yeah.
Like she would tension the yarn really in this interesting way so that her finger would just like push the yarn out, and then she would just kind of like deep, 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 deep.
Right.
So fast across. Like it was amazing to watch because you could stare at her hands for a really long time, and I still couldn't figure out how.
You reminded me, that's what it was. It was the yarn coming down here. I was like, something was going across here, and I would just, I remember like being like, whatever, I can't even watch this anymore, because it's like I would try to understand it and then be like, nope, it's just not. And
my English style, I've been really like over many, many years trying to practice doing something similar. I still can't get my yarn to stay where my brain remembers her keeping it. Now, I could be totally wrong, but that's not how she held it. That's just how my kid brain saw it. But I'm better at like a little bit more of just like an index finger action instead of my hand. It's still a bit of like a throw type motion that I do, but it's a lot less dramatic of like this big wraparound, you know?
Right.
Anyways. Yes. I think, knitting techniques are like so cool, and it's neat again to like learn different things and try different things. And that was a shawl. And so I said, I think I'm a little bit obsessed with Jenny's patterns. Somehow, I think maybe on Instagram, I had seen that she had posted about her next knit along that's coming up. It starts this Friday, and it's like a non-mystery knit along. So you get to see what the final product will look like, but she's still releasing it one section at a time, which actually kind of works for me because I feel like it'll force me to like keep knitting it and stay on track. But I like that I know what it is already, so I can like decide, you know, do I want to invest the yarn in this? Like, you know, I get the mystery knit along. It's definitely more exciting, and it's definitely like, you know, really fun that way. And if you really trust the designer and their aesthetic, it's not hard to commit the yarn and da-da-da-da. And I'm so glad that I did her initial mystery knit along, and that was the first of her patterns that I had actually knit. So
that was the tilted cowl?
Yeah, the tilted cowl. I'm so glad I invested that yarn. I'm so glad that I commit, because it was like, I love it. But yeah, so I would do another mystery knit along with her for sure. But I was like, I like that it's a non-mystery knit along. So it's like, do I want this? Would I wear this? Do I want to invest the yarn in this? So it's called the Moon Spots Cowlette. So I feel like it's going to actually wear kind of like this. It's a worsted weight cowl. I think it will be, again, short in the back, long in the front. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to want that. I love worsted weight, anything really. Sorry, I have honey on my hands. That's bugging me. Yeah, I'm like, I'm definitely going to want this. I don't know about the fringe. So if you go to her feed, you can see some pictures. It has a fringe all the way around. And I'm not really a fringe girl, but we'll see how I feel about that when I get to the end. Anyways, so I have this yarn in my stash that I was going to knit a May pullover by Andrea Mowry. I started the bottom of it, got about maybe this deep, and was like, nope, I'm done. Because it looks gorgeous. Like when she has it on in the pictures, you're like, I'll look like Andrea Mowry if I knit myself this sweater. I will never look like Andrea Mowry. Let's just be perfectly honest there. But the body of it is all twisted stitches. Like it's all twisted knits, knit through the back loop. So it's stockinette, but with knit through the back loop for the whole thing. It's mental. It's so slow. I was like, yes. I can't do it. And it's a long cardigan. Like, so she has all this like nice shaping at the bottom so that it'll like fit and like tuck right over your butt. So it's long, and I'm like, can't do it. I can't do it. I'm done. But I love this yarn. I've had this in my stash for a while. I believe the company is called, yes, always save the tags, Akara Yarns. She is from somewhere in Canada. I want to say she's in Quebec, but I could be wrong. Or maybe in Ontario. I can't quite remember. Oh, I think she's actually in Ajax. And I'm only saying it like that because our dad used to live in Oshawa, which is close to Ajax. And actually, he did live in Ajax for a little while. Whatever. Anyways,
Jason's dad lives in Ajax.
We're like, what?
Jason's dad currently lives in Ajax.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know why I always picture him south or more. South from me.
Oh, because that's where his uncle lives, in Brantford.
And his grandparents are
in Paris.
Nearest to me, yeah. Okay, anyways, so it is organic worsted merino. So 100% organic merino, GOTS certified, GOTS certified. I don't entirely know what that means, but I know it's good. Yeah, in this navy kind of colorway. So they all have this like, kind of tonal. It's like, to me, it reads like a very tonal denim, like a dark pair of jeans that have now become worn. So that's like the color palette from like medium darky navies to lighter, some of these spots are quite pale, quite light. I think it'll look really pretty. It'll be really nice. Like, again, a neutral kind of wear. It is like on the warmer side of navy, which I really like. So it reads a little bit purpley almost. Anyways, yeah. So that's my future Sweater Freak Knits knit. I think I'm just going to slowly work my way through her entire catalog, apparently. And I was wearing my winter butterflies hat earlier today, too.
Future knits, baby.
Future knits.
Oh, so excited. I don't even care. I will.
Oh my God. Of course, I just put coffee in my mouth. Sound like an injured peacock. I'm so excited. Oh, my Lanta. I don't know what. Yeah. You need to work on that or get some medical help.
I'm just replaying this sound.
I'm glad you're excited. It's a little bit disturbing, but.
Oh, man. Oh, it's funny.
I'm thinking it's trolls like, that's your happy show? It's been a while.
It was just an intro. I'm like, ah. All right. Oh, man. Okay. Wanted to talk about my caramel, my TANIS fiber caramel. Mm-hmm. It's more like yellowy than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a bit warmer orangey-ish, but I'm still very happy. I'm like really hoping it's gonna go well on my skin. I'm like, I'm not gonna wear a sweater up here. I have to remember it's gonna be down here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm really excited. And I just was thinking about the fact that she said, I don't know, something that you mentioned about what you were working on reminded me, I think in somewhere I read, it's a good idea to stripe the yarns together when you're working on a project. Oh, yeah. I know why, because you held up your two balls just now and one was like much darker looking. Yeah, so I was like, oh shoot, I wonder how that's gonna work out. But yeah, I can see why, because there's like some darker spots and some lighter spots. So
well, say what you're gonna knit with it.
This is gonna be the abalone Beata something.
Jezek, I think. I don't know if that's how it's actually pronounced, but it's like Jezek. Beata, just the dyer behind hedgehog
fibers. Yes. So I'm gonna knit her abalone sweater.
And she has like some really, I have to say, she has amazing patterns, and they're all free. Like,
right.
Not like actually amazing, good quality, interesting free patterns. Like, she obviously knits them with all her yarns, but that doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So for pattern catalog, they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I can hear Jason took the boys to the library this morning. I can hear their back. There's a lot of stomping downstairs. I'm hoping it doesn't pick up.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
Okay. Also, I'm just going to go through this really fast because I want to show it all.
Yeah.
This one is Prism by TANIS fiber. Obviously, you can see that. Well, there's the label.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. It's going to be so amazing. Pardon?
What's that one for?
A hat for me. Picture that on my head. I just want like a, not as thick hat. You've made me some like really nice thick warm hats, but I want to make one that's like a bit like that I can wear as it's like transitioning in weather. I don't need like a huge thing that covers my whole head. Yeah. Anyways, and these are the ones for you.
I can't remember. It was funny because after I was saying take a picture, I was like, I couldn't think of the names of the colorways that I bought. What?
Dove.
Oh, right.
Does look like a dove.
Yeah. So it's like gray, but a little bit purpley, right?
Gray with some purpliness in it. Yeah, really light purpley. Actually, there's some like dark, deeper purpley, but it's more mixed in with gray. And then this one is Fig.
Oh, right.
What do I say about this color? Purple, little bits of tealy blue, and I don't know. I was gonna say gray, but I guess it's like it's purpley, but there's like gray mixed into the purple or something.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not going to show up well here at all.
That's okay.
But it'll be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Whatever you make with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what were your plans? Are you just like?
I can't remember. What weight did I get? It's funny because what?
Fingering in the dove.
Yeah.
And worsted in the fig. I
think for the fig, I was thinking a hat. But I don't know for sure. I might change my mind. Or some kind of like, maybe not. I really would like to try not like a hat, but not really like an ear warmer and not a messy bun hat. If anyone says messy bun hat, I'm going to lose my mind. But like a tube type, but cute.
Can you hear them?
No.
Okay. You don't need to. Clark's upset about something. I'm not sure what.
I was turning up my volume to see if it was just because my volume wasn't all the way up, but I can't hear it at all. Yeah, I want to knit something where it's like I can put my hair through it instead of trying to force things on top of my hair, but I want it to still be cute. I don't really love like just an ear warmer that like holds your hair up at the back. So I want it to be like thinner at the back, a little bit longer on the top to kind of like, I don't know. I have a vision in my
messy bun hat?
Pardon me?
Like a shifted messy bun hat.
No, because I don't want it to stick out like a hole, like a ponytail.
Right.
Like I want it more like if you had like a cowl, like it would be kind of like a cowl with like a narrow back, longer in the front that you could like pull right up over your head, like a wide headband almost, but that'll be able to cover your ears. But I have like a vision for how I think I can make it work and kind of hold things. What?
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking, I think I've seen exactly the idea you have on a dreadlock Instagram feed.
There are different versions out there, but every one I've seen, the one thing that I don't like about a lot of them is that here on the sides, if it doesn't have like the structure to hold back, I get like this like widening effect. So it's like, it's sleek on my head and then all of a sudden it's like here. And I don't know, from the front, I just don't like the look of it. I'm sure nobody else is bothered by it, but it's just, it bothers me.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have a few ideas of how I want to structure it that I hope will hold my hair back to a certain point so that from the front, it's like sleek, like I'm wearing a hat, but out the back, it's not fighting with my hair.
Right.
So I have ideas. See if I can execute them. And then I can't recall why I wanted the fingering weight one. I think I have a couple of patterns in my brain that I want to, whatever, knit and stuff like that. So probably just stash it for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone's going to order and you can piggyback and try to take advantage of free shipping, then you might as well. Mm-hmm. There's something else I was thinking about there and it's totally gone. Oh, back to the abalone and the striping together. So when I knit the abalone, because I also was working with variegated yarns that, you know, yeah, you can end up having like a really obvious line in your knitwear if you knit all from one ball and all from another ball, because it just sometimes, yeah, colors just land differently and you'll get variation even if they were dyed at the exact same time. Colors will just pull to one ball more than the other for whatever reason. So what I did though, just to make my own life easier, I knit all of the shaping because the very bottom is like a little bit curved. So I knit all of that section just out of one ball. Then I started striping when it went to just like straight stockinette. Right. And only because I thought if I try to keep track of this shaping and switching this yarns, I just don't want the edge to end up like a crazy mess because I know I have to go back and pick up all those stitches later on. Right. So yeah, that would be my only tip when you do actually start knitting is start the striping after the shaping. And it's not enough of like a chunk of shaping at the bottom that I thought it would make a difference. And I don't think when you look at it, you can see that it's all one versus striped together.
Right. So. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will take that tip.
Oh, one last two things. Okay, so do you want to, actually, sorry, three things. I'll show you a couple things that came in the mail, and then do we want to do our socks together? Or do you want to do socks first?
Oh, I don't mind. Go ahead. We'll do a socks last, yeah.
Okay. Mail came. So, Amba, who I believe is I think she's from Australia, if I'm not mistaken, or in Australia, whether she's actually like born there or not, I don't know. She is also an amazing knitwear designer. I have a few of her patterns in my queue or not queue, but in my favorites and in my library that I just have not knit with because every time I look at them, I'm like, they're so amazing. I don't know what yarns to use. Anyways, so this is her logo that many of us have long admired. So she recently had her logo turned into enamel pins, little stitch markers, which I'll show you in a minute, and shawl pins.
Oh, that's pretty.
So I have, for an extremely long period of time, as long as I've been knitting shawls in a more serious way, I have wanted some sort of shawl pin action because, if I can get this on, because they're just good to have. Like there's times when you wear a shawl that you don't want it, you know, chunky wrapped like this. You want it maybe a little bit more prettily draped across, and sometimes there's just not a good way to keep it where you want it. So you need like a little something. I got that ticker. Figure out how to get it across. You just want a little something pretty to hold your shawl where you want it. I don't think I can get it in while I'm talking. I need to like actually focus. Anyway, so it has like a curved stick and then the flat piece, obviously based on her logo. She had it or has it available in three kind of, I don't want to say colorways, but kind of like three finishes. So you can get it like a gold looking finish. You can get it in sterling silver, which I was like, I'm not going to get sterling silver because all my sterling tarnishes. I just don't take good care of it. Or white brass. So it looks like a slightly warmer silver than some silver can. I don't know what the best way to show that is, but it's a little bit warmer than some silvers. But when I Googled it, just for out of curiosity, it shouldn't tarnish. White breast should not tarnish. So I'm excited to maybe wear that over the holidays. When we go to some gatherings.
Cool.
I'm having trouble getting this back through. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. Anyways, play with that later. And then because I was already ordering, you know, can't just order one thing. You gotta order 2 things. So I did get a set of the stitch markers that she had done. So the one with the logo on it.
Cool.
On my shirt for background.
Yeah.
And then it's like with 3 little hearts. So it's kind of like this minty tealy color, this mirrored blue. So I can't get it to stop moving. There you go. And then the fluorescent pink.
Cute.
I almost did like Christmas colorway ones, but I'm not a super Christmassy person, so I know I wouldn't use them throughout the year, and then I'd be like, what's the point?
Neither would I. I'm like, Christmas stuff is Christmas only.
Yeah. So I was excited about that. That actually came not this week, the week before, like before our last podcast, but we just didn't get to it. So really excited about that. I actually also got another shawl pin. I was ordering some stuff from loveknitting.com, and they had the Knitter's Pride, like a rosewood. It's like rosewood on the top and then something white. I don't know if it's like painted on the bottom. So it's just a stick that you can like and weave through. So it was like more casual one and then a more fancy one. And that other thing that came in the mail yesterday.
That looks awesome. That's big.
Yeah, buddy. But I said to you, like, so I had the Opal advent calendar from last year, but it was worse than that, like size-wise. It was worse than that because it was this giant cube. So every time you wanted to open a thing, for one, it's like a night. I was like, where am I going to put this? For two, I'm like, every time you wanted to open a thing, you're like turning it all around going, I can't see the number. Where is number 3? So at least this one, they are still in random order. Like it's like, here's one.
Yeah, like an advent calendar usually is.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't eat chocolate. I have not had an advent calendar since I was a child. Here's number 2, you know, so they are randomly.
I never had them as a kid. That's why I'm like so excited for my
kids. We did.
I don't remember.
Not every year for sure, but I know for sure we did.
Ow, Tigger.
Because I can remember at some point figuring out that you don't even have to open the doors because like it's never, I didn't care about the Christmas countdown. I cared about the chocolate. Yeah. That some advent calendar, you don't have to open the door. You can just flip open the end and pull the whole tray of chocolate out. And I was like, and Christmas is done.
Don't remember that happening at all. The mom would not have let that happen.
I feel like there was a year, maybe it just did it 1 year, but I feel like there was a year that maybe they went on sale and that was the only reason we got them. They went on sale and it was like only a couple days before Christmas. And so initially we started popping open each door and I'm like, why are we doing this the slow way? I'm just like, rip this open and pull out the chocolate.
Made more sense to me. I was like, we did not get up together every day and open a door at a time.
No, not that.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Probably would have been on sale at Byway a couple days before Christmas. Anyways, so there's number 1. They're much brighter than I recall last year's being. Well,
you've been working on last year's, right?
A little bit. I just am like way into number 2. I'll show you in 1 sec. Number 2.
Cute.
I like that. I think they're going to be like really interesting stripey ones. Anyways, I'll open up today's because I haven't opened it yet. If I can find it. Oh, here it is. Pop. Awkward. Here's number 6 for today. So it's like reds, like a orangey, like a light red, and then white and blue, and there's some purple and some yellow on the inside.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're all gonna. The cool thing about them is like even it's just like that opal yarn that you were knitting with. Even though it's such a small ball, there's like stuff hidden inside that you can't see just because of the way that they wrap them up, you know? So it's like even looking at this, when I first pulled it out, I was like, oh, it's like purple and yellow and green. And I'm like, oh, wait, there I can see some red poking out. Oh, and then there's some blue if you really start digging. So I'm like, this one's for sure going to be like very rainbowy striped. So what I started doing with last year's, I had a couple of ideas like floating around with what I wanted to do with the advent calendar that I got last year. And I just hadn't started doing any of them. So what I started doing is knitting a little sock.
Mm-hmm. That's so cute.
So this was number 1. I'm going to do them. I just think I'm just going to attack them in order because my logical brain just wants to do that. So yeah, this is number 1. Number 2 is on the needles. Almost looks like the same colors, but when you look at the ball, you can tell it's not going to be exactly the same. It's a little bit more like muted compared to the other one. And I think it's going to be a little bit more ordered, whereas this is obviously like a little bit more of a random stripe pattern. So yeah, so what I want to kind of do is like little, I don't know what else to call them. I don't know. Is misfit like a word that people like or don't like? I like the word misfit. I don't know if there's something like cute about it.
Yeah, misfit usually doesn't mean mismatch though. Misfits are usually like kids that are a little naughty, right?
Maybe.
But it's works.
Like, either like
it kind of works all together because of the Island of Misfit Toys, and you're knitting socks from a Christmas advent calendar, so it kind of works.
I don't know what that is. What's the Island of Misfit Toys? Is that from that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Yeah, you don't like that movie. I don't love it either.
I think they lost me at sometime as a kid. They lost me at either is that the one where when his nose glows, it makes a sound?
Yeah.
That noise killed it, and the Yeti made it worse, and now I just refuse to watch it.
Oh, really? You don't like the Yeti?
It's like, if I watched it, if I could see it with fresh eyes now, I might not feel the same way about it, but it's like even just as soon as I see like the little picture of it, I just like instantly feel like, oh, I don't want to watch that. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. Because I have problems. Anyway, so I don't know. I want to call them like misfit socks because they're like rebel-y, you know, like they're not the way you're supposed to do socks.
Right.
So
okay.
I just want to be like, here's number 1 and here's number 2. That's going to be a pair. And then 3 and 4, that's going to be a pair. So no matter what they look like, they're just going to go together and be like crazy mismatched socks. We'll see. I might mix and match them a little bit. So they like, you know.
Yeah. Cause you wouldn't want that one with like a white and black.
I kind of like, actually, I think rainbow and like a neutral would actually kind of work, but it's like, you know, these together, I feel like would look weird, you know, if for some reason these were together. So I don't know.
Right.
We'll see what actually happens. And then, so this I knit, so this pattern is just Drops, which is a yarn company, have tons of free patterns to go with their yarns. So this is their drop, like one of their baby sock patterns. I can't remember. I don't think it has a very fancy name. Only because I just kind of wanted the proportions for a baby sock just to see how it would knit up. So I'm going to knit another one to match. So it's using the same pattern, but then I think I'm just going to switch it and go toe up. I think this was the 12 to 18 month size because I just wanted to take the biggest size out of the pattern and see if one little ball was enough to knit the biggest size. So I got the biggest size and this wee teeny nugget left.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, wouldn't this be cute if I could knit like a smaller sock, like a 3 to 6 month, and make this the toe and the heel or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a solid for the sock.
Right.
I think that would be friggin' cute.
That would be cute.
So we'll see what happens with that. I feel like that'll just kind of be like an ongoing pattern project. This probably could have been further along, but these double points are driving me mental. I did the first one on circulars, and then I stole the needles to knit my buddy socks. And so I switched to double points, and I have carbons, like a nicer double pointed needle that's metal. And for some reason I could only find 2 out of the 4. I think I borrowed the other 2 as like a cable needle for something, and I don't know where I put them. So I might go today and grab double points from my local yarn store called Galt House of Yarns. They have an online shop. Look it up. They have good stuff. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of needles stolen for buddy socks, where's your buddy?
Buddy socks.
Where's your buddy? In your
in my ho 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 bag.
Yeah. Was that last year or the year before?
I honestly don't remember. It was just in my Christmas bin. And
last year or the year before, I whipped up some bags to use as gift bags for people. So it's just like a plain cottony bag. And then the same company that sells those bags called Creative Bag, they have an online store. They had links to, I'm pretty sure it was through them, they had links to these iron-on templates that you could use to jazz up your holiday bags. So I just, printed them on plain iron-on fabric, which clearly that was not the right iron-on fabric that I used on that bag. I think that's the one for dark shirts, and I meant to use one for light shirts, and I don't know. Either I didn't have any or I couldn't find it or didn't realize I was using the wrong one, but whatever, gets the job done. Okay. Anyways, so this is all I've got.
You did like the slip.
No, I didn't. I was playing around. I was like, what am I going to do? So when I attached the main sock yarn to the toe, I did knit one with this and knit one with this.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what you call that. I think if I had done it with pearls, it would have been called a corrugated rib or something like that, but whatever. So it's just kind of, it almost looks like a slip stitch, but it's not. It's one of this, alternating back and forth just to give a little detail in the toe. And then as I started knitting it, I was like, I wonder if I should do something else. So I was like, just whatever, for my own brain to keep me interested, because otherwise I just wasn't in the mood for a vanilla sock at that moment. But I was like, I need to catch up because you're so far ahead. So this is just a 1x1 rib going across. So it's just knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, instead of the slips that I had done on those other socks.
Right.
So I can't recall. It was like at the time that I decided to start it, I was just like, I'll just do it between the next two stripes. And I was like, when am I going to do it again? So then I keep moving it up. So it's like, it's between the green and the blue on this one. So then on the next one, it's at the top of the blue. And the next one's at the top of the orange. Mm. That's about as thoughtful as I got with it. But then the other thing I tried to do, and it's like, maybe I'm doing too much experimentation on one sock. We'll see. I might end up having to like rip it all out or rip it back and whatever, is I tried to like put in a little bit of a gusset. So on two different rows, one row apart, I just did like a little increase at the start, like at either edge of the sock. So like I have half my stitches on the front, half on the back. And so at either edge, I just did a little bit of increase on either side so that when I cut in the heel, hopefully I'll have a couple more stitches across the top of my foot. Because I did notice with those twisted limon socks were the last kind of really vanilla socks that I did. When I put them on, they don't really feel too tight, but you can see the stitches pulling a little bit across the top of my foot. So like, I wonder if that would help. And then after those increases, a row or two later, I did a decrease at the back in the center. So it'll like pinch in, hopefully just slightly at my heel or just like above where I'll cut in the heel. It might be a genius idea. It might be a hot mess. I don't know. But why I've stopped right here is because I just figured I'll knit a little bit more so I have something to hold on to. And I'm going to cut in my heel now so I can try it on and see if it made sense. And then if it didn't, it doesn't. If it didn't.
No, if it doesn't.
if it doesn't, then I'll be able to rip it back without being like, I have this whole sock that I just wove in the ends and totally finished, and now I have to rip back. That makes sense? Hmm. So now that I'm like to the leg part, I'm doing that 1x1 rib all the way around. So I'll knit like the same kind of pattern, but you'll be able to see it on the back as well. So I didn't do it under the foot, but on this side, like now it'll go all the way around.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see. These might be brilliant socks. These might be a hot mess. What else?
I did not get that
things
fancy.
That are like a blank canvas for experimentation. Vanilla socks. Blank canvas for experimentation.
Yeah, it's true. I did not get fancy. I just want to make these socks and get them going. Mm-hmm. I realized though I got the rib done. Just doing a twisted rib. Mm-hmm. And I actually, these two stripes should still be stockinette. I was like, a lot extra yarn. So I'm gonna take it back. So I really just want the cuff to be the 4 colors. So
yeah,
get more practice then.
Yeah,
yeah. That's my socks. I'm really excited.
You're so
definitely, I'm excited. I don't know why I thought they would take longer. I don't know what I was thinking. They're short, like they're not very long socks. Anyway,
no,
will for sure be done for next.
Yeah. So we're both using, I know we've mentioned it before, but we're both using Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color yarn from Scrumptious Pearl. And on her glam base, so hopefully you can see that, just very fine gold sparkle in there. I like it. It's not like an offensive sparkle. It'll be cute for the holidays. And then we're both using contrast color for toes and heels. And I might add some into my cuff.
I thought about that too.
Because there's going to be so much left of the contrast color. Like, where did it go? It fell out. I don't know. It's a big ball. Like, I think my contrast color right now is almost the same size as what's left of the yarn to do the second sock. Like, it's a
I wonder if maybe I should do my heels now too then before I really get finished. I was thinking this too, like to do some with the cuff. How are you going to do it then?
What I was thinking about doing, so I had two ideas in my mind, and it's just more what I feel like doing once I get there maybe, and playing around with it. I might have to do a bit and then see how it fits. But so the easy way is like one stripe of the contrast color, one stripe of your main color.
One stripe? You mean like do all of the band?
No, like one round. Right. One round, like switch every round.
Okay.
Or I might do like a brioche top on it. Because it should be stretchy enough. And then that way on the front, you'll see the stripe color still, but just with that contrast color peeking out. And then if you folded it down, you would see more of the contrast color with the other color peeking out.
Right.
So it's just, again, what I feel like doing and how it'll fit. Because again, I have like an athletic calf, so I need something that'll be stretchy enough to fit depending on the length that the sock will actually be.
It's not very long.
So brioche probably will work, but yeah. It is like a little bit more of a time consuming knit. So that'll also potentially play a factor just because it's the 6th. I got about 12 days to finish.
Yeah.
Which is totally doable. I could whip up a vanilla sock in basically not a whole lot of time, but they're just, because I'm playing around with my vanilla sock pattern or formula for my foot and adding those little increases. It's like I did when I was doing that section, I did have to like stop and take a lot of notes to make sure that the second sock will actually match.
Right.
It was good this time. I took notes because otherwise, even just like little things like this part, adding in that thing, I would have done the second sock and totally forgotten and been like, oops, they don't match. I don't know what is going on with my stockinette on the toe. It almost looks like a twisted rib the way it's like very...
It's the yarn.
It's the yarn. I don't know. It's weird.
It is, because I noticed that too for mine. Like it's really, it's a lot more, it's like bubbly. It's got so much more texture.
It's funny because of the way I did that, I can see... like I have a tail from my toe yarn and the sock yarn both hanging out. And it's probably blowing it out too much to really see that it has more twist.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And I didn't notice it until you said it's the yarn, that I was like, oh, right, I can actually compare them really easily right here together. Because this is what I do. So instead of putting a marker at the beginning of my round, I'll take the tail from doing my Judy's Magic cast on and then put it out the side. That's the beginning of the round. So I just know when I look down the sock, and then I just divide my stitches for my magic loop half and half. So when I look down, I'm like, oh, that side's the beginning of the round.
Right.
And I don't have to think about it. I don't have a marker or a progress keeper to move up or worry if it's too heavy and pulling down, whatever. Anyways, yeah, so it's neat because I can see both yarns right there, and you can see how it's just a slightly higher twist than the other. Neat.
It is neat.
Anyways, it's not bothering me. It's just interesting when I look at it that I'm like, it looks like a feature, like it looks like I meant to do that, but I totally didn't. It's just stockinette.
Yeah, I like it. I noticed it right away, even before I got to the other ball. I was like, wow, that's a cool texture that's coming out.
Yeah. And
anyway, so Jason's been so jealous. Not that he likes this. I mean, he likes the yarn. He wouldn't want to wear it, especially with the glam finish on it. But he's been like, oh, I don't have Buddy the Elf socks. So I went on a search for different yarn that I could use for him. He doesn't know. It's a surprise. But I went back on the Scrumptious Pearl website and found something I can't remember what it's called now. I showed you the mandrake. I don't think she had it anymore. So it was some other kind that I'll have to, when it arrives, I'll tell you what the name of the yarn is. Anyway, so it's like a bit more like the gold, green, and it's not actually a white. It's not like a perfect white. I think it's more like a
pale gray almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's more like grayish. I'm interested to see what it looks like. On the website, it looks like it's going to show up differently when you get here. Like there was something about her lighting to like make it kind of an interesting picture.
Yeah.
I can tell it's going to be different, but even if it's not that close, like it's still, the point of it is to be kind of Buddy the Elf-ish.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then
that's what I said to you again. I think with that color combination, if you then put like, because you know how his outfit and then he wears like a black belt.
Right.
I'm like, if you did black on like the toes and the heels and maybe
I'll do a gray. I'll do a charcoal gray.
Yeah, something like that. Like I think then it would pick up the point more than if you would just knit the sock totally in those striped colors, or if you picked a different color. You know what I mean?
Or a lighter color, yeah. Because initially I was thinking up, I think for a man's sock too, like the charcoal gray would be nice as opposed to using like a more natural wool or something.
Yeah, or if you're trying to make it Christmassy and you like put in a red, I don't know that those, from the picture, those greens won't play nicely.
No.
It will be hard to find the right red. And again, like if you're trying to make it look like Buddy, I think, you know.
Yeah, darker would be nice for sure. Yeah, anyways, so it's kind of nice because like the cowl that we opened up on Ravelry goes to the end of the month, but we're going to be done this on the 18th, and I'll still have time to whip up another, probably just straight vanilla again to make it fast and whatever. Yeah. So I can't wait. And I ordered I also ordered the Remembrance colorway from her website because he doesn't have any family that was ever in World War II or any of
his grandfather wasn't?
No, none of his family were actually in. People were affected. Like obviously,
of course.
You know, you had I'm not even gonna try and guess. Some of his family were specifically like doing wartime jobs, like some of the docks or something like that.
Factories and stuff like that,
but no one actually fought. Like our grandfather fought in the war. Yeah. But anyhow, Jason's a huge World War II history buff. Any world wars, but specifically World War II. Like for some reason, it really it like really resonates with him. Not that he likes war, but he's just like fascinated by the details and it like you know when you can see him when he goes to the Remembrance Day parades, because he's been like every year except 1 year he missed for some reason since he moved here. You can just see like it just affects him so deeply. I was so misty-eyed this year for some reason too. I don't know why. Anyways, when we went, I was like feeling like I was like on the verge of tears like the whole time. Anyhow, so I got the Remembrance Day sock for him, or colorway, because his birthday is kind of close to Remembrance Day as well, and so that'll be for next year, and hopefully he can't hear my loud voice right now.
I almost bought that colorway because I liked that she's donating some of the sales to something.
I'll look that up too when it arrives. I cannot remember.
So I almost bought it like because of that portion of it. And then I was like, I have a few other of her colorways, and I have lots of sock yarn in my stash that, you know, is waiting to be knit. And I was just like, I wasn't, you know, it's like, it wasn't like a kind of yarn that I was like, oh, I'm so excited to donate and then it's going to arrive and I want to cast on right away. It would just end up in my stash. So I was like, oh, I better not. Speaking of yarns with donations though, I was going to say, just like super quick sidebar. So like, you know, lots of people had sales for Black Friday and like whatever they call different days across that weekend, and then Cyber Monday. But this brand in BC called Vegan Yarns, and I really like her colorways and stuff. So she uses obviously vegan bases, so nothing with wool, nothing from animals, all cottons and bamboos and things like that. And then I believe all of her dyes are also natural dyes, if I'm not mistaken. Like I'm 90% sure all of her dyes are natural dyes, and like amazing colors that she can get with natural dyes, which kind of surprises me because some I've seen are more muted. She did Giving Tuesday, so any order that you placed on Tuesday, she donated a portion of the money, and I can't recall what charity she was donating to. So I did end up, stranger cat just walked up on my deck. Yeah, I did end up ordering a couple skeins from her on the Giving Tuesday because I was like I was looking, you know, like all the Black Friday stuff was popping up in my feed and I was like, no, look away, don't do it. Because sometimes you're like, oh, it's on sale though, so I have to get something. I'm like, I don't need anything, look away. But there was something in her shop that I had been eyeing up for a little while. And so I was like, okay, this is the right day to do it. Right. If I'm going to do it, this is the right day. And I will also say with the Black Friday, I really liked one of the yarn brands, and I can't remember which one, but an independent dyer posted something about Black Friday because she had been getting messages and emails from people asking if she was going to have a sale because people kind of hold out and wait to do orders until that sale comes around. And she was like, I'm just going to blanketly put it out there that I'm not doing a Black Friday sale. And she's like, because I'm an independent business, I'm a small business, it's just me, like I can't afford to give a huge discount just because it's like a day and follow suit with everybody else. Like, you know, my prices are my prices, and I'm sorry, but no, I'm not going to participate in this as like a just because everybody else was. I was like, I really respect that answer. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying I just respect people who do Black Friday sales. It's completely your prerogative in your business to run sales whenever you want to. But I really liked that she was just saying it like, I'm not kind of giving into the pressure of the industry, of the retail industry, that we have to majorly discount ourselves just because this is the day to do it, or whatever, or to compete with other people who are doing it on that day, because, you know, I would hate for some business to feel like we have to do it because my audience expects it, and then it actually
doesn't feel good.
Create hardship for them, right? Like, yeah, like it's hard to run your business if all your customers are waiting for the next sale and never buying at the price that things actually cost to produce, because, you know, it's a combination of the cost of materials and your time, and you have to be compensated fairly from your time, you know? And that's generally plus where the sale is.
Like imagining the influx of orders that come in at that one time. And I respect that too.
Yeah. Anyways, I just like thought it was cool that she, rather than, you know, because I also think sometimes it's a bit nerve-wracking to just be honest like that and put it out there like that, you know, that I really respected that she just did it like that rather than being quiet and like, oh, I'm not sure, or, you know, I'll just say nothing and hope that nobody notices. That she just was like, nope, this is what it is. And so I was, yeah, good for you. High five. High five for makers getting paid fairly for their makes all across the board.
Yes.
Great. Well, on that soapboxy kind of note, anything else that you want to say, you want to mention? So back to Buddy the Elf Cowl. We are hosting a knit along. Feel free to join in if you feel like knitting something inspired by Buddy the Elf movie, Christmassy time, whatever. I did in our Ravelry group post a few suggestions. That said, if you don't want to join in, that's totally fine. We're just still going to knit our Buddy stuff.
We'll still be knitting happy.
Yeah, buddy. Once I'm done my socks, I really want to knit like a Buddy mini mochi. I think I've mentally committed myself to it. Yeah. So I think that's going to be the next one. Maybe he'll hang on my tree or something like that.
Yes.
Because they're so cute. And I'm going to say, as tiny as
the other 5 decorations that you have.
What? Yeah, to go with other 5. Our lights and 3 or 4 other ornaments. But there's a reason, I will say, because I don't want to go to the store and buy like a whack of decorations that will probably get broken by my curious handsy kids. And all the decorations we have that I can think of off the top of my head are special in some way.
Yeah.
Like we sometimes go to this market, which is actually coming up this weekend. So I got to see if I can convince Steve to go, called Stitch and Kitsch. It's in Kitchener. It's all local-ish handmade businesses. And there's been a guy there a few years who does woodworking. So he makes beautiful bowls and all sorts of stuff. And I don't know if they're just like experimentation or they're kind of like leftover pieces of wood that he plays around with, but he'll do like a circular piece of wood. It just has like a little loop of whatever wiry kind of stuff coming out the top. And then he makes this it almost looks like a 3-dimensional spirograph coming out from the middle. So it's really textured, like when you touch it, and it's interesting to look at. You know, sometimes they're a little off center. They kind of look like a shell / spirograph, you know, on a piece of wood. And I just think that's a special ornament that I bought from a hand maker. You know, it reminds me of taking the kids to this market that's always crazy packed because it's in a church basement room that's super tiny, and you know, but that I supported a handmade business and I put that on my tree. And I think from ginger snap. I have, I think it's from her, like a glass ornament that has a little piece of knitted fabric with like 2 little needles in it, like in the bottom of the boggle. So it's like, that's like a special ornament. Like 1, it's knitting, but 2, it's supporting another handmade maker. Like that's a special ornament that's on my tree. I probably have some stuff that the kids have made at school. Those are special. Like, so, and our tree is like the height of my torso. Like it's, you know, it's not going to support a whole lot of ornaments to begin with. So every piece that goes on there is special. That said, Christmas. That said, though, too, I said I was going to stop by the local yarn shop to grab new double points for knitting those socks and to make cutting in the heels easier and stuff like that. And she had posted, Anne, the owner of Galt House of Yarns, had posted Cascade, I think it's called Cascade Heritage Prints is the yarn line, like a self-patterning or self-striping sock yarn. She has the Christmas colorway in. And I had seen it a couple times online. I had seen it a couple times. Hold on, I'll tell you in a sec. I had seen it a couple times online. It's just like white, green, red kind of. I don't think it's super stripy. I think it's a little bit more like a variegated stripe. And I was like, yeah, maybe I want some actual Christmas socks. Like, you know, then I'll have my buddies and then I'll have like Christmassy ones and then that'll be good for like visiting and stuff like that. But, so I might end up picking that up. For a non-Christmas person, I have a lot of Christmassy things on the brain.
Pick up 2.
And then I said, ew, because nobody wants to see this. I'll probably cut this out. But
a burn?
Join us for the Buddy the Elf Cow. Check out our group if you want to, whatever, have some fun, chat with us in there. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it so that other people can find it and so that we know that you're actually out there in the world. And subscribe if you want to know the next time that we're chatting knitting and yarn and other acquisitions, randomness.
Yarn on, people.
Yarn on, Wayne.
Yarn on, Garth. I got to be Wayne.
Okay, bye.
Bye.